Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion. We are live at the Hankinson Community Center. We welcome all those in attendance tonight, and we also welcome all those watching on Three Borders Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125. I'm Raley Lip, along with Bob Worrell. Bob will be here in a second. He will explain the format and the rules for tonight. Ryan Wallach is here. Ryan is the network manager at Red River Communications. He will be handling the clock tonight. He is sitting right up front here. He will flag you at the 5-minute mark. And again, Bob will explain the format for us here in just a second. And Brian Watson is here. Brian representing Three Borders Sports Network. He will be producing tonight's event on the Three Borders Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125. At this time, I will hand it over to Bob Worrell. Bob, the president at Lincoln State Bank, also one of our sponsors. He will explain the format for tonight's event.
Thanks, Raley. I'm glad to see you all here tonight for this important event, the election coming up. We've got a couple of things. When we go to the question and answer, we have a microphone here for you to address the candidates. If you're uncomfortable with that, there are some pens and some paper over there. If you want to write out your question and hand it to me or to Raley, we will ask the question. You don't have to put your name on it, but that's how we'll handle the Q&A. If you're comfortable going to the microphone, that would be fine. Cell phone silent. Restrooms are behind us in the hall. If you use that door, if you need to use the restroom, there are refreshments over in the corner, sponsored by the American Legion. So with that, the format for tonight is a candidate forum. We're not looking to do this debate style, but a forum for the candidate will get approximately 5 minutes to introduce themselves, tell a little bit about them, and identify the key issues in their particular race that they feel are the most important. And we'll go down the line. We'll begin with the House, go to the Senate, we'll go to the Commission, and then we'll go to the Sheriff's race. And we'll do a Q&A after each session, so they'll get a chance to introduce themselves, tell a little bit about that, and then we'll ask you to address any questions you have for the House race for the candidates to respond. That's kind of the layout for the evening. It's kind of a first for us in this format, as well as I believe for most, if not all, of the candidates. So we hope everything will go smoothly and the train whistles don't blare too loudly. So with that, Raley, do you want to introduce our candidates?
All right, starting with the North Dakota House of Representatives. From left to right, Representative Kathy Scraw, Representative Elise Mitskog, and Representative Cindy Beck. North Dakota Senate, Senator Larry Leck and Senator Jim Dodson. For Richland County Sheriff, Officer Jason Weber and Officer Gary Rule. And Richland County Commission, Commissioner Sid Berg, Commissioner Nathan Burseth, Commissioner Raleigh Ellert, and Mr. Terry Gerer. All right, before we get started, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to meet the representatives for the North Dakota House of Representatives here on the Three Borders Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Lincoln State Bank's lending team is ready to meet all your farm financing needs. Whatever you're looking for, a line of credit, a new piece of equipment, or buying farmland, Lincoln State Bank has the knowledge and experience to structure the best deal for you. To find out more about what Lincoln State Bank has to offer, call Brian, Anthony, or Jeff, or stop by at any one of their locations in Hankinson, Wyndmere, or Lidgerwood. Lincoln State Bank's Ag Lending Team, experts in your field. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Did you know that we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota? Or that we've been around for over 60 years? How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/.
Johnson with the home run, just about to stray away center field.
Welcome back to the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion. We're going to start with the North Dakota House of Representatives. First on the clock is Representative Cindy Beck.
Good evening. Thank you, Raley. Thank you for all that are attending this evening. It's going to be interesting since we've never done this before. We won't need the 5 minutes on my behalf. And I guess it was you took the oldest first. So, that's nice. I'm here. So I introduce myself, Cindy Beck. I live just south of Wahpeton. I've been a resident of Richland County for 40 years, long time. And my history in Wahpeton, I arrived there to teach at the Wahpeton Indian School and ended up marrying into aviation, and therefore I've spent 40 years at the airport, by the way. So I have a long history in aviation, agriculture, education is kind of my background. But as a legislator, I believe I've been available and accessible. I've been very responsive to the needs of our citizens in the community and the county and the district. I'm informed. I like to do a lot of research. You'll find me researching most data. I like data, so I don't make an emotional decision. I like a data decision. I'm experienced. This is my third time running, and I feel that I'm respected by my peers in the legislature. I have a fairly solid voting record. Might not agree with everybody here, but it's pretty solid, and I haven't changed in the years that I've been there. I'm a former business owner, as I said, Tri-State Aviation, the Cinderwick Company, and I'm still gainfully employed with Ellingson's. And now I'm a salesperson selling drain tile, ag drain tile, back in agriculture, which I love. My priorities in the legislature, and they haven't changed a lot since I was elected in 2014, North Dakota citizens, every one of you here, and every one of you in the state of North Dakota. And whether it's health, mental health, anything that involves citizens. The veterans and our active duty military, they play a very important role in our state and our nation and hopefully in the world. Workforce issues. As you probably have all heard, the governor made a recent announcement about child care. Child care is extremely important right now. It's one of our largest workforce issues, along with the fact that housing is an issue once we can find workforce. I serve on the Workforce Development Council, have served for a number of years on that, which is a entity that we're appointed to. It's been interesting. There's a lot to be done yet. Whether or not how we can get other people into our communities to help us do our work that needs to be done. Education. I've served on the Education Committee since I've been in the legislature. As a former educator, I was a speech and language pathologist, and it's very, very important. We have developed the strategic vision for education in North Dakota, which is a state plan. There's local control, so we aren't indicating how everything is run. at your local levels in your districts. With 171 districts, obviously we have some differences in how things are done. There's approximately 115,000 students now that we're educating, with about 11,000 educators. Education is premier. It's our future workforce, and it's early childhood, it's K through 12, and it's our colleges or trade tech schools and universities. We all like lower taxes. We won't even discuss that. That'll probably come up. Economic growth. It hinges on everything that we do in North Dakota. We've been very successful as a state, and we'd like to continue to be so. Administrations at the federal level play a different role, but we'd like to see that we can continue to ramp up, whether it's technology, agriculture, oil. But for all of that, we need infrastructure, and especially our rural infrastructure. And as we sit here tonight, we're hoping our prairie dog bucket fills for our townships and counties, and it looks very, very favorable. And even further down the road is for our airports, and I'm heavily involved yet in aviation. I like limited but effective government. And back to agriculture and value-added agriculture. That, I believe agriculture is a backbone of North Dakota. Whether we do have oil, we have other economic engines, but in legendary North Dakota, agriculture, I believe, is a key issue, and we want to make sure that those that are in the industry of ag have everything they need to be successful. I do serve on the Grand Farm Board. It's you probably want to look it up. It's high tech in agriculture and how we move ahead, whether it's seeds, equipment, autonomous. It's just a whole host of looking at things, and I was asked to serve on that board about a year and a half ago, and it's been very, very interesting. We just purchased land near Castleton, and we're 5 minutes. Are you kidding me? Okay, thank you.
Representative Cindy Beck, thank you. Next up, Representative Elisa Mitskog.
Good evening. Thank you, Raley. Thanks for the American Legion for hosting this tonight, and thank you for being in attendance. My name is Elisa Mitskog. I am from Wahpeton. I am married to my husband, Alan, that's here tonight. Mother of 3 daughters, 3 granddaughters, and have born and raised in Wahpeton. I'm a chiropractor is my day job, I always say, and my second job is public service. And when I first ran for the legislature, I came out of 11 and a half years of serving the Wahpeton City Council, where we did not worry about partisan politics. We tackled issues that affected our community and our city. And so when I first ran, I made that a priority, that I was going to remain issue focused and listening to my constituents, not answering to a party. And so when I was elected, I was honored, and I took some advice from my predecessor, but I went out there and I learned and I made friends. And fortunately, that was the best advice I ever could have been received. So I went to work, and I had some success passing legislation. But my work has been the work of the people on issues that are affecting our district and southeastern North Dakota. I remain focused and trying to keep our rural communities vibrant and growing, and whether that be support for schools, our nursing home, long-term care. And just today, I'm very pleased on some work that just in the last week we came through with some additional funding for St. Gerard's to keep them on track to another successful year. So, in addition to schools, looking at some of my work, including the energy sector, which is our #1 driver of our economy in North Dakota. And we as a state are really poised to be a leader in this country for energy independence, as well as potentially global independence. And not just oil, coal, natural gas, but emerging energy sectors. And I look at the ethanol plant, and just in the last year, some of the emerging technologies that are happening that could be transformational for ethanol. With fuel cell generated batteries, and so that leads back to agriculture, our second most important industry. And those are the industries that drive our communities and support our main streets and support our schools. So looking ahead, what I hope to do in the next legislative session, if I'm reelected, is work on issues that are affecting our communities, keeping them safe, supporting law enforcement, supporting our veterans and military, but more importantly, supporting the people. Starting 0 to 4, investing in small children, helping working families afford daycare, improving access, improving pay for our childcare workers, making sure our schools remain the best they can be, supporting teachers. It's a challenge every day to keep them employed. I mean, talking to administrators, I mean, competing with industries that are trying to poach them away. And then higher ed, giving kids opportunities, young people opportunities for training to meet the workforce needs are vital. But along with that is the challenges that life and stress have thrown at us in the last year. Behavioral health remains a huge issue that we need to invest in and keep focused on, not only for young people, but as people age. And substance abuse and use. I sponsored a bill to have access in Richland County for people to access treatment across the river in Breckenridge. And that's something we need. I think every family's been affected by substance use, so I really want to continue investing in that. But I appreciate the opportunity tonight to share some of my views and the work I'm focused on. Thank you.
Elisa Mitskog, thank you. And also on the ballot on November 8th, Representative Kathy Scraw.
Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. It's so good to see this many people engaged, interest in the people who represent them, whether it be at the sheriff's office or the county commission or your legislature, your senators, and your House members. First, I'm just going to explain a little bit about who I am. Kathy Scraw from Lidgewood, North Dakota. I have been a resident of North Dakota or Richland County and North Dakota for 47 years. I've also been married to my husband, Michael, for 47 years. We have 7 children, and they are all grown and out independent, successful in society, and we have 15 grandchildren. Part of my understanding of the importance of the work we do in the legislature is that when I enjoy the time with my grandchildren and my children, I know that families all across North Dakota and all across Richland County also have the same passion that I have for the success of their children, whether it be their education or their preparation for a career in life. That we want success for them, we want them safe, we want to provide a good, safe environment for them to live in and have North Dakota and especially Richland County be the safest place where we can live, run our businesses, and raise our children. I come from a farming background. That is part of my passion in the legislature. I grew up on a dairy farm, and my dad lost his health when I was in the 3rd grade. So I was out there milking cows when I was in the 3rd grade, and that meant everything that went with it. The pitching the bales, I ran the baler, I chopped silage and packed silage piles and all those different things that go with agriculture. So I married into agriculture as well. We have still a beef operation, a cow-calf operation. From 1987 to 2010, we were managing a goose growing operation. We had the largest domestic geese operation in the state of North Dakota. That ties into my interests with whether it be turkey growers in our state. We have quite a substantial grower right here by Wymer that is very good. We have another one right here by Hankinson that is a very important poultry grower, and they matter even though they're one of the smallest sectors of agriculture in the state of North Dakota, but they still are very important to what they contribute to the state. We also run a family business called Vinnie's Mud Bog. We are in our 10th year. We finished our 10th year putting on this outdoor event for all the public. We not necessarily have a good time there, but we like putting on opportunity for people to enjoy the outdoors and the venue that we provide. So I'm a manager and a worker and owner of that business. I also serve on the Ag Committee because that's my passion, and the Interim Committee. I serve on Human Services, and that could be compared to a committee of pain and suffering, because we see all the difficulties that come before people, whether it's addiction, poverty, disabilities, any of those things that make life difficult, and we try to find solutions for them within the Human Services Committee and within the Health Services Committee. In addition to that, my first year in the legislature, which was in 2016, and I've served for 6 years, 3 sessions and 1 special session, I introduced legislation dealing with mental illness. Because of my passion, I have become more or less a champion of legislation dealing with mental illness, and I was, because of this passion, asked to serve on a select committee of the North Dakota Supreme Court Task Force on Mental Illness. There we deal with all types of issues that people experience when they are not able to get the help that they need. So one of the bills that I sponsored was about getting people to help sooner. That passed and became law. Another bill that I prime sponsored this last session was 1181. This was a bill that came together within the North Dakota Supreme Court Task Force. That is now law. What it does is it provides a uniform system throughout the state of North Dakota within the courts that people go through assessments, then go through a process of knowing whether or not they are fit to appear before the court. And if they're unfit, if they can't come to that state of mind within a year, their charges are dropped and the charges are expunged from their record. Lastly, I will say, I have been serving, besides Richland County, I've been serving all of Sargent, half of Dickey, and half of Ransom. So I have a diverse group of people that I have been representing and taking to the legislature with me. I'm a leader who listens. I work very hard to hear people's stories, take them to the legislature with me, understand how I can help relieve those concerns and pass good law to make that happen. I guess I have gotten the flag, so we'll end there.
Thank you, Representative Kathy Scraw. 3 wonderful choices. You'll vote for 2 on November 8th. We're going to take another quick break here. When we come back, we're going to open it up to questions from the audience. If you have a question for one of the North Dakota House of Representatives District 25 candidates, we ask that you step up to the microphone on, what would that be, the east end of the community center, or to your right and to my left. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You're watching the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion. We are live at the Hankinson Community Center.
Dodson with the home run, just about to stray away center field.
State Bank's lending team is ready to meet all your farm financing needs. Whatever you're looking for, a line of credit, a new piece of equipment, or buying farmland, Lincoln State Bank has the knowledge and experience to structure the best deal for you. To find out more about what Lincoln State Bank has to offer, call Brian, Anthony, or Jeff, or stop by at any one of their locations in Hankinson, Wyndmere, or Lidgerwood. Lincoln State Bank's Ag Lending Team, experts in your field. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Do you know that we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota? Or that we've been around for over 60 years? How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/connecting.
Welcome back to the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion. We are live at the Hankinson Community Center. We are going to open it up now for questions. If anyone has questions for any of the North Dakota House of Representative candidates, now is the time to ask.
I have a question for Representative Scraw, and I only have for Representative Scraw because both Representative Beck and Representative Mitskog's statements answered any question I might have for either woman. Representative Scraw, your voting record is currently in the public eye. How do you respond to reports of possible discrepancies between the information on mailers sent on your behalf and the legislative record?
I'm not aware of the discrepancies, so you would have to explain what those discrepancies are.
I saw this afternoon there was a report on a blog that quoted a conversation between yourself and the blogger Rob Port. There's talk about questions regarding a mailer and whether or not the information on the mailer corresponds with the record.
So that is a rather awkward question because I haven't had any lengthy conversations with Rob Port at all. I simply told him that if there were votes that I voted no on, I would include them because there are times when there are bills that are bad bills and we need to kill them. And as an example, House Bill 1415 was related to legalizing assisted suicide in the state of North Dakota, and it was a bad bill, and we heard it in our Human Services Committee, and we effectively sent it out with a do not pass, and it was also killed on the floor.
Thank you.
Hello, Chad Benson, superintendent here in Hankinson. The microphones are always too short for me. Not surprisingly, I have a question about education funding. First of all, I guess I would say thank you to all the legislators for all of your work that you do. You have to keep all of us happy, and we all have different priorities. And certainly we all want property taxes to be lower, but we also want extra things. And school funding is something that concerns me. We're having difficulty, obviously, replacing almost anybody in our school building at this point, whether they're teachers or ancillary staff. And what is good, what is positive, is there are entry-level positions in our community that pay $17 to $25 an hour, with an opportunity to increase that to as much as $30 an hour within the first year. Those are positions that require no training, no education, no nothing. What do I do about teachers that don't even make that much money? Our entry-level teaching position requires a bachelor's degree. In special education, for example, it requires a master's degree. And they can go to a job in our community that requires no training and no education. They can make more than those teachers can make. I don't know how we're going to continue to pay our ancillary staff when we're competing. You know, people used to always joke about go to McDonald's and work there. McDonald's, those companies are paying good wages right now, and we're having a difficult time competing with those wages. So I guess my question is, what can you do to help invest in education, top to bottom, pre-K through 12 is where I'm at, while at the same time trying to balance the wishes of a lot of people in the state with lower property taxes, because sometimes lowering property taxes means that we have to take a hit in education as well. So that's a big challenge for you, and that's my main question.
Who wants to answer? I can start, and thank you for the question. So you probably heard the announcement by a couple of our legislators with the lowering of property tax, but so therefore, and paying more for education essentially. But there has to be a moratorium on valuations or mills. So it comes back, that's such a local control issue when we're talking property tax. And I'm not sure the appetite of the legislature to get involved overly heavily in local control at that level. But as far as teachers and wages and salaries, et cetera, that's a tough one because we know we can't find teachers. And I'm not sure if your district is handicapped in that way or not, but what we're trying to do is grow our own from an education standpoint. We have looked at numerous opportunities for teachers who are either four-year degree people that want to go into education and take coursework. It's called American Board, and we've okayed that. So we're trying to work on bringing more teachers back. We're looking at loan assistance again. If you recall, we did have loan assistance for teachers, and it was removed, I think, the session before last. We couldn't get an agreement on how they wanted to handle that because we had changed it somewhat. So it was up to administrators to work on handling that. But with the advent of special ed is a huge issue that we do not have staff for that. We're working with Minot State and also with Catherine Terrace, who has a program that they're putting together for special education educators, doing the 2 years on the back end up front, and so there's all kinds of that. But the money piece is, I believe wholeheartedly, although I did not serve on the interim funding committee on education, that we will have an increase, definitely an increase. There's federal funds as well, and those have not all been dispensed at this point, and some of it's up to DPI. There's, how do we look at that education piece and make it whole? And as you say, from early childhood all the way through college. Cost of college, tough to change it, but the scholarships available today are amazing if students prefer to apply. So it's not a one-size-fits-all answer, as you said. The larger schools are having as much difficulty or more, and the smaller schools in our remote areas, remote is not probably the best word, but our very, very rural areas have a very difficult time. So a Center for Distant Education that is well-funded, and there's going to be a big ask, I know that, from the Career and Tech Ed programs. I've looked at their ask, and there'll be money that's going to be spent and put for our future workforce. Does that answer anything? I can't promise you the amount, sir, but
Representative Mitskog, anything to add?
I do. Thank you for the question, and thank you for your good work. First of all and foremost, as a legislator, you have to support DPI K-12 funding, that budget bill. Not everybody at this table supported that bill. You have to support the funding formula bill. Those are crucial to supporting and funding our schools. But I think recognition of the challenges that our teachers are under right now. First, kids are coming to school not always on the same level playing field in preparedness. It's not a level playing field, and that's the reality. So we have to invest in that 0 to 4, so kids enter kindergarten, that your teachers aren't overwhelmed. Teacher retention we need to focus on. And I'm very pleased, I sit on the Appropriations Committee, but I'm very pleased that there is serious discussion about using legacy fund earnings to increase funding formula and funding for schools. But I will take it a step further. I think we need to start thinking outside the box that we did with our higher ed institutions. Shared services. So could we centralize payroll, like we've done for the university system, to help school districts with the business managers? So every school district right now has to hire a business manager and an administrator, and that adds to cost. So are there opportunities for sharing administrative roles, superintendents, because they're in short supply in our state? And are there opportunities for sharing business manager services? That's going to help bring down costs, ultimately saving property tax dollars, but taking some of the stress off of local school boards and school administrations. But we need to continue to support what you're doing, because you're up against the threats of, our workforce is, we don't have enough workers, and your teachers are getting lured away by opportunities in the private business sector. So I'm hoping we can go back and we can get some additional funding for your work.
I have a question. When we're talking about this, would you consider, of the funding you receive, putting more emphasis in the lower grades, maybe the K through 3, so that our students that after 3rd grade have all the skills they have to, their building blocks are, if you want to call it that, are in place? I see that in other states that they're working and they're mandating that more money be spent at that early level, so that at the later ages, number one, there's obviously more success if they have their building blocks in place, and it's lower cost as they go through the grades so that they're successful.
Yeah, I would agree with that. At the elementary level, you tend to have larger class sizes, so it does cost you more a lot of times to teach those kids. You split them up into groups. For a long time, North Dakota didn't necessarily even support full-time kindergarten. And I've always been a proponent of we should have state-supported preschool. I should have kids in my building at 3.5 if their parents would like them there, because the kids that need it the most, their parents would send them. And the kids, the parents that don't want to send them, I'm totally fine with that. But let's get a head start on a lot of those kids that really struggle. And when they get to kindergarten, they're really behind. And so it's a way to jumpstart them into the educational world.
And in response, which is appreciated, because I believe exactly what you're saying. As a speech and language pathologist, I worked with 3-year-olds. But I think the emphasis with anybody here needs to be on probably the people sitting here are agreeing with you 100%, but we have a bulk of our legislature. We don't know what who's going to get reelected coming forward, but they need to hear that very sincerely from a wide array of administrators, versus, kind of almost preaching to the choir here, but we believe that. And but we need emphasis across the state to those very legislators that have voted down preschool or early childhood for years since I've been there. Finally had to take it through Human Services.
All right, thank you, Representative Beck. I'd like to give Representative Scraw an opportunity if you'd like to respond to that question.
I would. Thank you for the question. My experience in this area is, of course, 12 years serving on a school board where we dealt with teacher shortages. And one of the impacts that we have in small schools, not only do many people prefer the amenities of Fargo, it's harder to attract them to rural schools, but also we deal with the extra cost that comes with having only, say, 5 students in a science class or 5 students in advanced math. And so that adds an extra component to the cost. You're not getting adequate reimbursement. The shared ITV type of courses, that helps that, but it doesn't answer every question. I also do support the VOTEC program, and that helps us place students that maybe we can't offer an appropriate course for them, and those are fantastic programs that are working well with the public school system. One of the things that we worked on when I was serving on the school board is that when we had critical areas of need. For example, those courses that you need for accreditation to complete your coursework, there were bonus payments offered. Say if you brought in a biology teacher, you could offer a $10,000 bonus above and beyond what their normal contract would be. It sometimes created a little bit of angst from other teachers who didn't get that opportunity, but it still helps you attract teachers that you need to meet accreditation. I like the idea of shared principals, multiple school districts, even superintendents. But right now we have limitations on that because a superintendent, for example, can only serve a full-time position, and especially if he's also teaching courses on top of his superintendent duties. So I think we can do some fixes to that will give a little bit of relief for the public school staffing. Serving on human services, we do see the end result of children not being formed well at an early age. Because if you don't capture their learning opportunity when they're young, oftentimes it's very difficult to capture their learning curve later. The skills they pick up in those early ages with language and reading and all of those areas are so critical. And if we do need to improve the amount of class time with those children, to go down to a younger age for especially those who are struggling with learning, then we can focus on that. It's a very competitive job market right now, but I don't think that's the only thing that impacts teachers. We heard in committee how behaviors in the classroom make it very difficult for teachers to be able to keep decorum in the classroom and provide for a good learning environment for those children to be able to stay up to speed. And I hope we can continue to work with that. We have been dedicating money in funding for counselors and so forth to help deal with behaviors in the classroom. So we have been trying, and we need to do more.
All right. Thank you, Representative Scraw, Representative Mitskog, Representative Cindy Beck. Those are the three candidates that'll be on the ballot on the 8th. You will vote for 2 on November 8th. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to meet the candidates for North Dakota Senate District 25. You are watching Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion here on the Three Border Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable.
Dodson with the home run, just about to stray away center field.
State Bank's lending team is ready to meet all your farm financing needs. Whatever you're looking for, a line of credit, a new piece of equipment, or buying farmland, Lincoln State Bank has the knowledge and experience to structure the best deal for you. To find out more about what Lincoln State Bank has to offer, call Brian, Anthony, or Jeff, or stop by at any one of their locations in Hankinson, Wyndmere, or Lidgerwood. Lincoln State Bank's Ag Lending Team, experts in your field. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Did you know that we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota? Or that we've been around for over 60 years? How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/connected.
Welcome back to the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion. We are live at the Hankinson Community Center. Next up, we're going to give you a chance to meet the candidates for North Dakota Senate District 25. First up, Senator Jim Dodson-Rod.
Well, thank you and welcome all of you tonight to be here. Jim Dodson-Rod from Wyndmere, grew up and went to school in Wyndmere, went to science school, NDSU, entered the military, 4 years of active duty, came home and started farming in the early 70s. I grew up in a home where we were sort of steeped in the traditions of democracy, the Constitution, the Founding Fathers. These were all important values. My father, who was 3.5 years on a destroyer in World War II, made it clear to us how they thought that they had put, when they defeated the Nazis in World War II, that they had put that evil to bed for forever. And a lot of my values come from my experiences as a person in the military and growing up at the foot of the greatest generation. And one of the things I remember as a youth in Hogan's Heroes would be on TV, and my dad didn't really care for that. Didn't like it. He said these people were responsible for more horror and suffering than any group of people in history. And so we sort of grew up with that sense that the cause of the war, World War II, was very honorable, and that we had kind of saved the democracy and saved the world. So I guess when I grew up, I kind of knew ahead of time that I would, and planned when I was in grade school and high school to be in the military. And I enjoyed my military service. I worked and jumped out of perfectly good airplanes. When I was stationed at a parachute test facility in the Southwest, desert Southwest. And it was a great experience for me. I met some of the most colorful characters I have ever worked with in my life in that business, which was a joint Navy Air Force operation. I came home, joined the Happy Hooligans in Fargo. I became the armament officer in charge of the weapons that we loaded on the F-4. We had 2 missiles and a Gatling gun. It was a great experience also because I was farming, and then on weekends we would do the military training that was required. And I think I enjoyed the rigor, the discipline, the fraternity, the teamwork that you get when you're a part of a military operation. So it affected me a lot, I think, in the way I look at things. And so I enjoy my time when I spend time with veterans, and interesting to hear their own experiences and how it affected their lives. We've had some bills in the legislature. There was a bill that provided $50,000 for caskets for indigent veterans who could not afford those caskets. And I voted no, and the senator that represents our district, I voted yes, I voted yes, of course, to support the idea that $50,000 seemed like a small price to pay. So not everybody voted. There were 3 no votes. One of them, the current senator that represents our district, voted no. I don't understand a no vote on something to give a deceased veteran a decent, respectful send-off. We had another vote on a bill that had to do with to increase the homestead tax credit for veterans who were disabled. And I voted yes on that. But the current Senate person in this district voted no. And again, these are issues for veterans who are low-income people. And so there is a difference, I think, in between the people that the kind of people we have in the Senate. And I have worked with the incumbent senator and collaborated on many things, but he and I have different voting records. And part of my responsibility as a candidate is to make sure that when people look and try to decide who to vote for, they understand that there is a difference. Legislators are not the same. There are differences. The incumbent senator and I also split our votes on oil tax relief. There were bills to cut the tax on oil, which I opposed. I thought that as long as we were in the middle of the road, not on the high end, not on the low end, we could keep our tax on oil as it was. But he and I split our votes there. I thought we should keep the 6.5% oil tax that the voters passed in at the ballot box in 1980 should stay. And so we have cut taxes on oil, but I was on the losing side. I thought they should stay where they were. They were not unreasonable. So the issues there's some big issues that come up in the course of a campaign. One of those issues is this thing that's emerged lately with school lunch. And you know, the school lunch issue has been around a while. And we have $8 billion in the bank, in the legacy fund. And I think when those kids go through the line, they should not be separated and have their friends know that they can't afford. I think we should be doing a better job of taking care that those kids are fed properly. Another thing is property tax. I do think of all the taxes we have, the continually over and over the least popular, and no taxes are popular, but the most unpopular, maybe that's a better way, is the tax on property. And I do think we could do a better job there. And I think we are concerned with valuations getting quite high, that we need to do something to make sure that property taxes, as much as we can, keep them in line. There are some local issues that affect us here in Richland County. One of them is drains and drainage, and the other is the load train issue. And on both of those, we have local boards who are at odds with the incumbent senator. And I think that if you're in the Senate, you should listen to the local boards. If you want to do something to change drain laws, do that in coordination with our local drain board. Let them know, get their input. As far as load trains, I also think that the county commission, if it's county roads, they should be involved. They should have their input, and we should be listening to that. How am I doing on time? Getting close? All right. Long-term care, I want to congratulate Representative Mitskog. Today, she had a good day in Bismarck, and they've got some more money that we think is going to be very helpful to St. Gerard's. They've done a wonderful job here in Hankinson with St. Gerard's, and it's a really important part of the community here. And so I think that was really good. Long-term care is going to be a big issue for us in this next session. We'll need to be trying to continue to find ways. It's time for me to leave. Thank you.
Senator Jim Dodson. Next up, Senator Larry Leck.
Thank you, Raley, and thank you, American Legion, for sponsoring this, and Lincoln State Bank. I would presume they're involved with this as well. I am Larry Leck from Fairmount. I farmed south of Fairmount all my life, and my wife, Yolanda, we were married in 1984. We have 5 children, 6 grandchildren, 2 on the way, all of them nerds. She taught high school math and science in Fairmount for 40 years. So she had quite a history of working with math and science, highly qualified in 47 different areas, I believe. So today I am voted into the legislature in 2011 and have served on the Education Committee, the Judiciary Committee, and the Agriculture Committees in North Dakota. Today I'm the chairman of the Senate Agriculture Committee, most senior member of the Judiciary Committee. I am on 4 different national and international committees that one of them, I am the vice chairman of one of the infrastructure, natural resources and agriculture committee. So being on the agricultural task force as well for the state of North Dakota gives me voting rights and some speaking rights at these national conferences. Last session I was voted in as president pro tem of the Senate, which give me the duties of 3 other committees that I serve on for the state. Excuse me. In what I do in the state of North Dakota as chairman of the Agriculture Committee, there are some things that kind of conflict with county responsibilities. When you are a chairman of a committee, not only do you have the responsibilities of your own district, but you have to look at whatever else is happening around the state. So the county of Richland County, or District 25, may have certain priorities or wishes of what they would like to see done in their particular county, but it's maybe not the same thing as what's happening in other counties. So as chairman, you cannot always just side with your own district. Now, it's great that my opponent would say that I voted against some of these things that I did, and I possibly did, and I'll explain. A few nights before we voted on the Senate bills that were regarding veterans, we had like a afternoon or evening get-together with veterans, and we were told at that deal that the veterans did not want these bills to pass. They absolutely did not want them. And I swear to God, that's where that came from. They thought it was going overboard. It was too much. They did not want it. So that's where that vote comes from, on two of those different veteran bills. I don't recall what the other one was, but I will get into more detail about the road trains and the water management issues. During our last session, I'm the one that gets all of the water bills that come through the Ag Committee. So in North Dakota right now, there are a tremendous amount of lawsuits going on between property owners, county drain boards, the State Water Commission, and whoever else is involved with these water drains that are along the paths of draining water, not even managing water, it's just draining water. I hope in my next session, if I'm reelected, is to change that. It's a brand new committee that I'm also the chairman of that was started this last interim because I was very instrumental and working with all of these water issues in the Ag Committee. I was told, you are going to be chairing this thing because you're the one that understands this, and I do. So, excuse me, I chaired this last session, and we made some tremendous headway on trying to not just figure out how to drain water, but to manage water. And that's where I'm at with the whole thing about this, is that how we have to manage water not only in the wet years, but in the dry years. So, yes, there have been some conflicts between myself and our own local board, because I cannot just look at what the wishes are for this particular county. I have to look at what else is going on in the state. And I would sure hope that they would understand how important that is, that it's handled that way. Road trains. Road trains. I wish that the county commissioners or even their lobbyist in Bismarck would have come to me any time in the last 5 years that I've been looking at this in Bismarck, because nobody did, not one of them. And I proposed this. I've been looking at these for 10 years, and I proposed this pilot study just to find out how it would work, if it would work. The efficiency of doing something like this is tremendous. We're talking at very least 25% and on up to 50% freight efficiency of moving freight. Why wouldn't we look at this? Safety and infrastructure damages are number 1 and 2 on my list to make sure that they are taken care of. I didn't have one peep from any one of these individuals that come after and ask me questions. The resolution to stop this from coming into Richland County was a poke in my eye, because why didn't they come to me first? If they knew that this problem was there, then maybe it should have been addressed, but it never was. Not at all. Thank you.
Senator Larry Leck, Senator Jim Dodson, they'll be on the ballot November 8th. You will be voting for one of them. We're going to take another break. When we come back, if you have any questions, again, we ask that you step up to the mic. And just remember, the microphones are for our TV audience on Three Border Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125. We have no microphones in here, so we ask that you speak up loud and clear if you have a question for any of the candidates, and we hope that you know the candidates for North Dakota House of Representative and the North Dakota Senate a little bit better now than you did before our broadcast. All right, when we come back, we'll open up the Q&A session for Senators Leck and Senator Dodson. You're watching the discussion and forum, Richland County discussion and forum. We're live at the Hankinson Community Center.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Did you know that we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota? Or that we've been around for over 60 years? How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/.
Lincoln State Bank's lending team is ready to meet all your farm financing needs. Whatever you're looking for, a line of credit, a new piece of equipment, or buying farmland, Lincoln State Bank has the knowledge and experience to structure the best deal for you. To find out more about what Lincoln State Bank has to offer, call Brian, Anthony, or Jeff, or stop by at any one of their locations in Hankinson, Wyndmere, or Lidgerwood. Lincoln State Bank's Ag Lending Team, experts in your field. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Dodson with the home run, just about to straight away center field.
Welcome back to the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion. We're going to open up the floor now for questions for Senator Leck and Senator Dodson. If anyone has any questions, please head over to the east side of the room, please. Thank you.
I'm back. I'll try not to monopolize the time this time. I'll just ask these two the same question on school funding. I saw a statistic the other day that said that inflation has increased more in the last 7 years than the per pupil payment for schools, and that's one of our challenges. Is how do we address that? Let's be honest. One of the biggest issues you have to deal with right off the bat with education funding is paying the bill for all the new students coming into the state. And I feel like the students that are already in the state, they kind of take a little bit of a shot because of that. Because of the new students, the students we already have really get less, in my opinion. So. I've heard a lot about how we should probably figure out a way to do more with what we have, but I would like to figure out what can be done to help schools increase their funding so that we can attract teachers. We could talk about all the ways we can get them licensed without having to go through four-year colleges or having different degrees, but we can get teachers if we pay them. And now we're having a hard time paying ancillary staff as well, so that is my biggest concern. How do we do that without increasing everybody's property tax at the same time? Property tax's issue is simple. The system doesn't work.
Senator Leck?
Sure. Thank you. And thank you for the question. Okay, so we all know that property taxes do not work. It's a negative type of taxation that the more you spend on your property, the more you're going to be taxed. It's a tax that should go away. So in the 2013 session, we had bean counters come to our Senate caucus that basically said that if we can have the patience to leave the legacy fund alone for 10 years, maybe 12 years, depending upon how their investments were. We would then turn around and have interest income off of that $10, $12 billion in that fund to take the place of property taxes. If our patients are good enough, and we still do want to leave that alone, the possibility is still there. But let's just set that aside for a second. Senator Don Scheibele has a proposal that's coming to our session this next session that is going to change the funding formulas for high school K-12 funding. And I think that that tied in with a different type of property tax formula is where we need to go. Because I was looking at proposing a funding change last session, and they asked me to wait until this new funding criteria was brought forward over the interim, which it has now. So my funding, my request last session was to take and of the first $100,000 or $150,000 of everybody's property was not taxed at all for property taxes. They thought that that was a good idea. The bean counters had to be involved to make sure that that number was correct, but there certainly is an appetite for doing something like that. So if we can meld some of these ideas together and change the property tax formula to something that's more usable and more understanding with the counties, because right now the counties are set up to fail. There's no way that they can come up with the dollars to do the road repair, the bridge repair that is absolutely necessary. And I've been working on funding for those for the last couple of sessions, and we are gaining ground on that as well. The highway distribution fund dollars coming from their gas taxes haven't been going, as I understand it, to the proper funding buckets to go to to come back to the counties, to back to the townships. So that has to be changed. Again, it's a matter of making sure that these things are in the right order, and how to get this back on track with, again, it goes back to funding the schools, the roads, and the highways, all coming from that same area of taxes.
All right, thank you, Senator Lewick. Senator Dodson, if you'd like to respond.
Yeah, the problem we're going to have is how do we keep and retain school teachers in this environment we're in today, where many are frustrated with the working conditions and the kind of difficulty they have in the classroom, besides the pay, which is everything I've read about the foundation aid program and funding schools is about 80% of what they spend goes to salaries. That largely what you're paying for when you fund schools is salaries, people that work there. So at the federal level, a lot of the salaries, Social Security and so on, have a COLA. We don't have a COLA for our cost of living, what it's COLA, cost of living allowance. We don't have that. So that we are dependent upon the legislature making an adjustment in funding based on what it's going to take to make sure that people get paid. And expenses of other kinds are going up too. But so I think that the state is in an extremely strong position. We have $8 billion in the fund. We have earnings on the fund that we have available to us every session. We're going into this next session with a strong cash position, like $1.8 billion of carryover money, that primarily because of higher oil prices. So the state's position, if you look at the position of property owners, it's really not that great. Property owners basically have the bills that go with keeping up a house, heating a home this winter, the utility bills, but the state's position is unusually strong. And so it seems to me that what we need is, we got people talking about, well, we got so much money, we can eliminate income tax. We got so much money, we can get rid of a number of different revenue sources. And it seems to me that we ought to be taking care of the education of the kids. It's supposed to be, education should be to the state what the defense budget is to the federal government. That should be where our priorities are. So from my view, there needs to be a discussion and strategy at the legislature of this, taking a look at the problem of keeping teachers employed, keeping them there, finding the incentives, whatever it takes. But we need to strategize on this problem. And I think the answer is going to have to be that we are in such a strong financial position, it seems to me we can find a way to fund the schools and provide, there's going to have to be, we don't have a fixed COLA, a cost of living allowance, but we do generally, from session to session, find ways to add on increases. And with the kind of environment we're in today, just about every employer is having to pay their people more. And so I don't really see a cheap way, an easy way to get this done. I think North Dakota, we are fortunate that we have a very low tax environment here. We're in the lower 1/3 across the nation of the big three, income, sales, and property. So not that I'm suggesting that all we have to do is raise everybody's taxes. I'm just saying without raising taxes, our financial position is quite strong relative to property owners. So I think there's a way there that we can solve this problem.
All right, thank you. Senator Jim Dotson, Senator Larry Leck. Still to come, we're going to meet the candidates for Richland County Commission and Richland County Sheriff. You are watching the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion. We are live at the Hankinson Community Center. And we do have one more question. One more question for the Senate candidates. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Nick Thornton. I'm an attorney. I think District 25 is in a rather unique position in that all of the candidates appear to have experience, and we've heard about your voting records and things that you've done in the past. I'm more interested in, if you earn the vote from those in District 25, what are your specific proposals, your legislative agenda for the session? If you're gaining these people's trust and earning their vote, what types of legislation are you going to propose? Maybe your top two.
And probably workforce enhancements.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
To restructure the property tax. The system itself needs to have an overhaul, and the workforce enhancement is what we're looking at right now is a whole new committee set up to try and educate or to promote different ways that we can get qualified laborers for the workforces. So that's big for me.
Do you have any specific proposals, or?
At this time, nope, not right now I don't. Other than the property tax one, which I had touched a little bit on before.
Which was to eliminate it, right?
Not to eliminate it. We do not want to do that. We certainly want to reduce it dramatically. If you were to eliminate it, if it were to need to be coming back, just like income tax, the income tax proposal right now to me is ridiculous. The amount of state income tax an individual pays is so minute that nobody has ever complained to me about state income tax being too high. Property taxes, yes, simply because it's redundant. It keeps building. The more you put into your property, the more percentages of your dollars you lose. However, if a school district, for example, or a county or fire department or whoever is collecting the need to make their businesses and or their organizations work properly, need more funding, but let's say that they go beyond what they absolutely need to run that efficiently, is it the state's, or is it the patrons of that county's responsibility to do that? you have to find out from those school districts, from those fire departments, those all of those areas that collect and or use those property taxes, what are they willing to cut down on if the state can't come up with a funding formula that's going to work appropriately. Because there's some school districts that may want some elaborate buildings that may not need to be according to what the state DPI thinks, but that community says, yes, we want that Taj Mahal. Then it's up to the patrons of that county or that school district to say, you know what, with a proper vote, I think we want that.
All right, thank you, Senator Lewick. Senator Dodson, if you'd like to respond.
Yeah, the first priority, I think, is the revenue system property tax. And the proposal that's been made by Senator Shively and Representative Nathy to take 30 mills and have the state use the earnings on the legacy fund to buy down that 30 mills, I think is a wonderful idea. It's been proposed in the past. We've had ideas similar to that. Sometimes we've toyed with different approaches to reducing the taxes on property. But that, to me, would be an idea that has been around that we should use. I would like to see us do that. And that would be a big help because it would really affect every property owner in the state would see a reduction in their taxes on property. I do think this question of teachers and how we deal with this, it seems to me we could have big trouble if we don't find a way to deal with this. So I would say that's be one of the biggest priorities that I am aware of is property tax, finding ways to deal with education. If we the surveys that show that the number of teachers who are considering leaving, that is a percentage that's quite high. I don't know the exact number, but it's pretty shocking when you see the share of teachers who are considering leaving. It's high. So that I would say is one. And another one would be job training to see what can we do to bring tuition down for skills, specific critical skills that we need. And those are probably the three for me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, and one more question.
John Murray from Abercrombie. Everybody else here has been complaining about education. I was born and raised here. Spent the last 20 years exploring the world, or the United States. And I'd like to see some ideas, or I have some ideas on how to be proactive instead of reactive. I got 5 points here, and I don't want to spend all 5 minutes individually, but I'd like to see some answers from what the people have to say. All school board members who currently have children in the school district, they are serving. All school board members, that income will be between 35 and 65% of the net income of the person in the school district. Ability to move employees of school district, board member, superintendent, principal, teacher, lunch lady, janitor, with 25% of parents, not the voters, signing petition. This is to remove bad people. Before any classroom textbook, education materials are purchased, samples will be made available to the public for approval.
And you want me to?
These are, seems like everybody being reactive about what the problems are. I see problems on the horizon.
Yep.
I want to be proactive.
Okay. Okay.
How do you feel on these subjects?
Well, there is, in my opinion, there are some very astronomical travesties going on in school systems right now.
And I'm trying to address that.
Yep. And again, at the state level, I think that this is something that definitely has to be handled by the local school boards themselves. If that is not going to be handled by the local school boards and the quest is to get it taken care of, then that's when it comes to the state. So I don't know if we can address any of those things before it's attempted at the local level.
My turn?
Yes.
You know, you pointed out some suggestions, some ideas, and I think you're trying to find ways to improve somehow accountability or make things work better in the school district. But you know what I find when I talk to people that are patrons of the school districts around our district and in some of the counties around us, people generally like their school. I don't find a lot of people bashing their own school for this or that. I do hear comments kind of in generally negative feeling about that, well, the whole system, everything's you know, out of line, the world's going to pot, and the school is spending too much money, and the kids, this new generation is not learning, and they're all playing digital video games. I mean, general sort of just discussed with
So
you know.
you're taking a reactive instead of proactive approach to it. then.
What my attitude is, the school boards have a responsibility on their shoulders. And if they're failing, then that's up to the voters to, that becomes an issue at election time. But as long as the school people that are patrons of the school like their school, they're happy with their school, and they elect board members that they feel are doing the job, I see no reason to make any changes. You had one idea on the end there about some of the school materials being available, and I don't see anything wrong with that. It might be a question of how do you do it in a way that's not expensive.
All right. Thank you for your question. Any other questions? If not, we will move along. Thank you, Senator Lewick. Senator Dodson. Up next, we'll get a chance to meet the Richland, the candidates for Richland County Commission. Sid Berg, Nathan Burseth, Raley Ellert, and Terry Gerer. If you do have family members or friends who weren't able to tune in live tonight on Three Borders Sports Network and Red River Communications Cable Channel 125, this will be up on YouTube later on tonight, so they'll have a chance to watch it any time after late tonight. We again thank everybody for being here tonight. We're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll give you a chance to meet the candidates for Richland County Commission. You're watching the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion on the Three Borders Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125.
Lincoln State Bank's lending team is ready to meet all your farm financing needs. Whatever you're looking for, a line of credit, a new piece of equipment, or buying farmland, Lincoln State Bank has the knowledge and experience to structure the best deal for you. To find out more about what Lincoln State Bank has to offer, call Brian, Anthony, or Jeff, or stop by at any one of their locations in Hankinson, Wyndmere, or Lidgerwood. Lincoln State Bank's Ag Lending Team, experts in your field. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Johnson with the home run, just about to stray away center field.
That we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota, or that we've been around for over 60 years? How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941. Since 1940.
All right, welcome back to the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion. Next up, we're going to meet the candidates for Richland County Commission. And we will start with Commissioner Sid Berg.
Thank you, Raleigh, and everyone who is providing us this building an opportunity to meet with all of you. And thank you all for coming, and for all at home that are taking the time to learn about us. My name is Sid Berg. I'm current Richland County Commission. A little bit about myself. I retired from Red River Telephone at the time. It's Red River Communications now, but I retired there with 35 and a half years of service. Retired from the North Dakota Army National Guard with 20 years of service. I'm serving on the board of Cass County Electric for over 20 years. I served on the Minn-Kota Power Board for 7 years. And I am now ending my 12th year as county commissioner. I live with my wife in Colfax, North Dakota. We have 5 children, 6 grandchildren, and glad to say all my children and grandchildren are doing fine. There's many issues that we face as county commissioners, and none of them are easy tasks, easy questions to solve. Our big issues, of course, is financing, state funding. We haven't gotten for a couple bienniums. That hurts us really bad. Keeping our budget in control, making sure we have enough backup, so if we do have an incident that's not in the budget, we have enough to cover it. There's been a couple this year, some bridges that have washed out with the flooding and so forth that put a lot of extra pressure on the highway department. Trying to rebuild our roads and keeping them in good shape has been a challenge. We've done well. I think we've done well. We've tiled many miles of road that have been unpassable in wet springs. It's just very difficult to get trucks or anything on them, and we've tiled them. They've held up. It's worked really well for Richland County, and we're going to continue to do that. We have challenges in every department. Highway department, trying to get qualified, good people to come in and run our maintainers and equipment. Health department, dispatch. And I think the problem that we're looking at and that we're trying to resolve is our salaries and benefits. I've been a real proponent for increased salaries and benefits for our employees. We need to keep our employees happy. We've lost some because they're going someplace else for a few dollars more, and those are positions that are very critical to the county to keep full. So I think the county's done well. We've watched our monies. We've improved roads as best we can. We continue to look at that. We have the sheriff's department also it's a challenge with help, and you have accidents, you have situations that take place that call for extra money. So we are fortunate enough to have a well-balanced budget that we keep a little bit in the coffer, so for these unknown incidences, we have some money. We don't have to borrow any. We can pay for it. But we have to recoup and build that budget back up. And I think we as a commission have done a very good job at that. So, again, I thank you all for attending. I have not much more to say. So thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Sid Berg. Next up, Commissioner Nathan Burseth.
Thanks, Raleigh, and thanks to the Legion for having this tonight. First, I want to give a brief intro to myself, and then the past 8 years, and then looking forward to the future if I'm given the chance to be reelected. Raleigh said, Nathan Burseth. I'm a 5th-generation Richland County resident. Live on our family farm that was homesteaded in 1874 with my wife and 10-year-old daughter, Bianca. The past 8 years has been a great and fun time spent with our as a county commissioner. I have to say, the 5 commissioners that I sit on there, I think we work well together, and I think we've moved the needle in the right direction. one of the things I'm most proud of this commission and myself serving on it is to lower our mills. Every year in the last 8 years, we've lowered our mills. And with that, we've been able to maintain the services that we are dictated and mandated to provide. But with that, we still fall short of what we need for our county, our roads, our bridges, our sheriff's department, our health department, our 911 system, our jail. And so how do we do that without raising taxes, without raising the mills, and capturing it with the growth in the current mills we have? And not to get into the crux of it, but that's the past 8 years. And when I say when we've done that is, I look at Arnie Altoff over there, and Arnie served 25, 30 years on the Jobs Development Authority. And 25 years ago, and up until the last few years, it's always been jobs, jobs, jobs. Well, with Arnie's leadership and a few others, including Raley Ellert, Commissioner Ellert on that JDA, we've focused on housing. And thanks to a settlement fund, we've been able to focus largely on housing. When I drove in tonight, I came in from the north and drove past Prairie Pines, and I thought of the time when Bob Worrell and I went before Alan Weezer and the City Council and suggested a land development on the north side. And because of the Hankinson CDC and the Hankinson Housing Authority, it's a nice development going on the north side of Hankinson. And the county's played a large part in that. And that dovetails into what Mr. Benson has said about how do we help our school districts. Well, not only is it taxes from the state that are brought back here, it's the taxes that the local school districts have, but it's also increasing the economic tax base. Every new home is a large increase in the economic base for that school district. In addition to every school new student, every student brings in roughly $10,000 and some change for that Hankinson School District or Wyndmere or wherever it might be, and I'm proud of that. And I see Dave Paulson sitting here, and the depot came from his place, downtown Hankinson. Our local JDA, our Hankinson, our county Jobs Development Authority, our county JPA, all helped with that project as well. We're looking at other projects throughout the county as well to increase that economic base, including downtown Hankinson, downtown Wyndmere. Again, to me, that's how we move the needle in Richland County, is to increase that economic base rather than continuing to take blood from a turnip. We add to that economic base. In the future, if I'm given the opportunity to serve for 4 more years, I would like to continue to focus on the economic base. Next year, Richland County will be building 55 homes throughout the county. And it's Wahpeton, it's Wyndmere, it's Lidgerwood, Hankinson, Colfax, Abercrombie. It's a builder-driven program, and I'm really excited to see the opportunities that brings towards Richland County and our workforce, our school districts, and again, overall umbrella of everything going on. I just want to touch base on the other 3 gentlemen. They're all three great guys. I ask for your vote. I can say whoever you vote for, they're all wonderful guys. Despite their looks, they are actually. I had to think of something. So, but my goal was not to see Wally wave that flag, and he hasn't yet. So I just ask for your vote, and I thank for everybody attending. I thank for everybody listening online as well.
Nathan Burseth, thank you. Next up, Commissioner Raley Ellert.
Thanks, Raleigh. Appreciate it. So, Commissioner Burseth, I've heard thanks, Raleigh, a whole lot more tonight than I've heard thanks, Nathan. So a little bit about myself. I grew up on the Minnesota side of the river, graduated from Breckenridge High School, went off to basic training, came back, went to science school, got a degree there, met my beautiful wife, Renee. We raised our 3 wonderful children right here in Richland County, just outside of Wahpeton, and they've gone on to be very successful men and families. They've given us great grandchildren, and so we're so thankful of that. To that, in the basic training piece, I retired after 21 years of service, of active duty service with the North Dakota Army National Guard. Proud of that service. Had the privilege to mobilize a couple of different times.
and support our nation. And always having that opportunity to support our nation, our county, all of our communities is something that I'm very proud of, certainly. That led me to my next career, the career I currently have. I'm a national program manager for a National Guard Bureau contract. I have 200 plus employees scattered across the 54 states, territories, and the District of Columbia. And I have the support of my employer. They allow me to do this job. I take great solace in the fact that I'm a good steward of the taxpayer's dollar. That's what I do in my professional life every day. We keep focus on key metric categories, and we know how to save taxpayer dollars. It's why I became a county commissioner, because I wanted to save taxpayer dollars. And so to the housing initiative that Commissioner Burseth referred to, 8,000 people that reside outside of Richland County commute to Richland County daily for work. There's a need for housing. At our last equalization board meeting, there were 4 homes listed in the Breckenridge-Wapton area for sale. There's a need for housing. And so we did. We started this prior to the Joint Power Authority settlement with the Diversion Authority. And we requested RFPs from the communities throughout this county, and there were communities that participated. And so we began building homes in Hankinson and Ledgerwood and Wyndmere, and we need to continue that. In terms of infrastructure, Prairie Dog. This is our 3rd opportunity to receive Prairie Dog funding. Three bienniums, right? So finally, after 6 years, our bucket should finally see money. And that's going to go a long way towards reconstruction of some of our roads. It's not the answer to everything, but it's $4.8 million. It's considerable, right? It's going to allow us to do some things. And I know the energy sector is the sector for our state, but right here, we all know it's ag. 54% of our county tax revenue comes from the black dirt out there. That's critical to us, and people aren't necessarily aware of that. It's important. So again, I'm a steward of the taxpayer dollar, and that's going to be my focus going forward. Building our infrastructure, working and building on the current housing initiatives, and continuing to save your taxpayer dollars. In terms of the mills, we've lowered those mills since I've been elected over the past 8 years from over 113 mills, and we are now, this current year, we will mill at 98.44. So that's a reduction. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you, Raleigh, for the invite, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Raleigh Ellert, thank you. Next up, Mr. Terry Gerer.
Thank you, Raleigh. It's what it is. My name's Terry Gerer. I'm from Mantador. I am running for county commission. We've got good commissioners, but I would like to be a representative of a lot of the rural area. I was encouraged by a lot of the rural area out to the west to run so that they would feel they have a little bit more representation. I was born in Breckenridge, moved to Richland County after a few days, and joined and grew up in a family of 9. I'm 67 years old currently. I've been farming for 49 years. I'm going to go with one more year, I think. Operated a family seed business for 42 years. 3 years ago, our family sold that business to one of our hired men. So the business goes on, and I've got a full-time job now, working for him. Been a volunteer firefighter for 43 years. Cares for Cancer Board, I was on that and helped them develop a 501(c) so that they can grant funds right out to families in need right here in Richland County. Also, I volunteer a lot with VFW and American Legion with their honor guards and flyovers for fallen veterans. I've been on multiple ag boards, and I'm going to talk a lot about my experience because I have not been on the commission. So my knowledge, in detail knowledge, is not there yet, but I do have 2 ears. I've been on multiple ag associations boards, probably 30-plus boards over the years, so they've all been great learning experiences. So I attended Matador Grade School, Hankinson High School, and then North Dakota State School of Science. And then I started farming right away. I was also part of the funding group that developed the Hankinson Renewable Energy. And that was a great experience because I learned a ton about how infrastructure works and how things go together and how to fund infrastructure. How do we get infrastructure? We brought gas line in, we did highway work, water, just everything to deal with the ethanol plant. So that was a great experience too. So I carry that with me. Currently, while I've also served on the North Dakota Empower Commission, I represented agriculture on that. It was every energy source in North Dakota, renewable, oil, whatever. We sat down and we spent 1 year going around North Dakota learning about each other and what we did. And over the next year, we came up with an energy policy for North Dakota that we passed unanimously to present to the legislature. So that was a great experience of learning again and helping each other. I serve on a Renewable Energy Council, and also the governor appointed me to a Sustainable Energy Authority, which deals with all energy again in North Dakota. So I do have a pretty good background on that. I think of this as that you as citizens are going to be electing a leader to run your county. It reminded me of a presentation that was given one time by one of my football coaches. His name is Gus Bradley. He said, to be a great leader, you got to be a servant to those you are leading. That would be the employees of the county, the managers of the county, in each of the different areas. If that's the case, then I need to be a servant to those people. I need to talk to those people. We have to work together to make things better. You make the guy next to you better, you're going to be successful. Make the people better that you are leading, and you can have successful. Give them the tools to improve themselves and to keep doing the things that need to be done. Pay attention. Pay attention. I got 2 ears to listen. Pay attention to what is going on, and be a servant to those you are leading. I thought that was a great presentation he gave, and I try to live by that in your life, in work, whatever you do. And for you young people, get involved. Get involved. That's the best thing you can ever do. If you're in high school, going to college, get involved in anything, just something. You'll never regret it because that's still your learning experience about how to move on in your life. As far as the county goes, I think infrastructure is pretty important. I've been farming all my life. I see infrastructure going on. I work to get infrastructure in place. It's a challenge because of the cost, but we got to keep at it. We got to keep trying. We got to find new ideas, new ways. Everything is tied to state or federal money, it seems like. Maybe we have to look outside the box. Back in the early 60s, my dad and my uncle went to work and got a mill passed in Richland County to blacktop the roads. And some of you might remember that. Well, maybe we need to look at that same issue again and say, how can we do this together? How can we make it happen? Thank you, and I look for your vote.
Terry Gerer, thank you. 4 fantastic candidates. You will vote for 3 on November 8th. All right, when we come back, we'll give you a chance to ask the candidates for the Richland County Commission some questions. They will be given 1 minute to answer those questions, 1 minute each to answer those questions. We'll be back here in just a couple of minutes. You're watching the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion, brought to you by Lincoln State Bank and Minn-Kota Ag Products.
Dodson with the home run, just about to straight away center field.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Lincoln State Bank's lending team is ready to meet all your farm financing needs. Whatever you're looking for, a line of credit, a new piece of equipment, or buying farmland, Lincoln State Bank has the knowledge and experience to structure the best deal for you. To find out more about what Lincoln State Bank has to offer, call Brian, Anthony, or Jeff, or stop by at any one of their locations in Hankinson, Wyndmere, or Lidgerwood. Lincoln State Bank's Ag Lending Team, experts in your field. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Did you know that we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota? Or that we've been around for over 60 years? How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/connecting.
Dodson with the home run just about to straightaway center field.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Welcome back to the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion, brought to you by Lincoln State Bank and by Minn-Kota Ag Products. We're now going to open up the floor to questions for the Richland County Commission. If anyone has any questions, please see Bob Whirl on the east end. We would like to remind everybody there is literature and information from the candidates in the foyer that you may want to grab before you take off. There are refreshments on the west side. If anybody would like cookies or coffee, please help yourself. Again, we welcome those watching on the Three Borders Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125, and we certainly appreciate everybody's attendance here tonight. Bob?
So just a couple of questions that have been submitted since we don't have any from the crowd. One would be, I think you talked to this to some degree, and I know your goal is to lower mills, lower taxes, and so forth. You've helped in a couple of situations that I'm aware of, but could you speak to any ideas, or is there any assistance available for communities, small cities throughout the county, where the county can help those cities deal with derelict properties to get them removed? We talked about housing. We have a new housing development here. There's one in Colfax. Aber has some things going on, Wahpeton. But we have existing properties within each of our cities that already have water, sewer, paved street, curb and gutter in front of it, but we need to get rid of that old property and make it buildable. Is there any way that you can identify, or can you see the county assisting us in any way with that? It's too late to ask these two groups over that, but that also would be a state issue, I believe, as well. But if any of you would like to address that.
I could take a stab at that. Actually, through our JPA program, we do have funds to rehabilitate homes that are on the cusp of still being able to be rehabilitated. We have had individuals come to us that are going to flip those homes in several communities. But also to address that issue is those that are beyond repair and need to be raised. And the county, I think, has been very proactive in working with cities. Matter of fact, we allotted dollars amount for cities to help with the funds to demo those homes down. And then in addition to that, looking at, rather than splitting that home up 50-50 between the two homeowners adjacent to it, is building a new home. And one of the prime examples in Wyndmere, where the county owns some buildings, the city owns some buildings, and the county put towards $75,000 to raise that building and buildings, and now we have a half a city block. We recently wrote a $475,000 grant for that property, and I think our JPA with the city of Wyndmere and the CDC will be looking at building a new property on that. So that'll be a shining star for what could be done in several other communities.
Yeah, Commissioner Burst's spot on with those comments, and certainly, so that property that belongs to that community, Bob, so as long as there are specials against that property, the city can request to purchase that property back from the county. And we certainly support that, and the purchase price is $1, and then we will contribute up to $2,000 to that community for the demolition of that home. Now, obviously, as Commissioner Bursteth indicated, it's not that we want to see that particular lot divided between two homeowners or one homeowner just sucking up that lot, because as you said, there's water, there's sewer, and there is an opportunity for those communities to rebuild on that lot. So the $2,000 certainly does not cover all the costs associated with demolition of that property, but if the city would be in a position to then resell that lot once it's cleared, they can recoup some of those additional costs for that demolition of that property. And certainly in Commissioner Bursteth is referring to the Wyndmere situation and what's taken place there on that Main Street. We participated in that because there is going to be economic growth that comes from that, certainly.
Commissioner Berg, would you like to respond at all?
Well, in regards to that, rather than separating the properties into two individuals, now we have an opportunity to have another residence in town. So that, again, helps bring tax dollars back to the county and the city.
Mr. Terry Gerer?
I think they've covered it. I think the program has to include some rebuilding so that you now have another tax source back. You're helping to build another tax source on that property. So it's covering those costs.
Okay.
Makes sense.
All right. Any other questions for the commissioners?
One other quick one. Someone submitted, what are your thoughts on overload permits?
Mr. Gerer, you want to take that one first?
I think the harvest permit, overload permit, whatever you want to call it, I know that the prices have gone up. I don't know the whole background of all that, but I know it's getting up higher. I think there's still work that needs to be done on it. I know it changed here a month or two ago, and now it's become a seasonal permit. That's fine for guys that farm and or have their trucks running for 3 months on harvest. And again, it's an insurance policy that if they do happen to overload, they don't get fined for that overload. It isn't intended to load to the max of that 10%. I mean, I think you were trying to do the right thing to help out everyone on that end, but I think there needs to be more education on what the harvest permit is really for. There are some trucks that just run sugar beets for 10 days, and they have to pay a pretty high price for 10 days of a harvest and then go back to their other work. So it's a process. I think it's a process.
Commissioner Ellert?
Right. So in the past, it was a 30-day permit. At one point, it was $50, and then last year or the year before, I believe it was, we raised the permit, the overweight permit, to $500. And this year, I made the motion that we change this to a harvest permit, because that's from field to storage site, right? It's from field to bin, and it's for any crop that they're hauling out of the fields. And As of this last Friday, I believe there were 94 permits sold compared to 140 the year prior. So, and I don't know that the 94 was the final number. Listen, it's not, we don't want to incentivize farmers to overload those trucks. It's meant as an insurance policy. That's what its intended use was, and because our roads, quite frankly, can't take the wear and tear of overweight and overweight trucks, because the equipment has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, as the years have gone by. And so we have to do what we can to protect the roads.
Commissioner Burseth.
Yeah, just a couple of things they've touched on. It's all over the board. You can talk to 10 farmers and line them up, and you'll get 10 different answers on what they think it should look like. At the end of the day, a $50 permit or a $500 permit doesn't cover much of a square footage of when you're overloaded. What it does allow for, it doesn't force people to have to buy it for a 10-day period. It allows them to buy it for a 10-day period or a 20-day period or a season now for insurance purposes, as the two gentlemen have said. It's an insurance policy. They don't have to. It allows them the ability, in case there's a little bit with 3 a.m. in the morning, it allows for that. But it's not a force. But in conjunction with it, one thing that hasn't been touched on is also regulation of it. And meaning there's probably not an incentive to get an overweight permit if we need to work with our sheriff's department to make sure that there's not the overweights out there in the abuse. We have a lot of trucks that come from outside of our county into our county. And I think we need to, again, as Mr. Gerer said, communicate and educate. And I think if we can work with our sheriff's department, it's all for naught if we're not working in conjunction with the sheriff's department.
Commissioner Berg.
Well, it's pretty much all been said. I had reservations on the $1,000. I thought we should leave it at $500, change it to a seasonal permit. I was in favor of that very much. The $1,000 I had a question about because I felt we'd probably have more licenses or more permits purchased at a lesser price. But I've been proven a little bit to be on the wrong side there. I don't know if it's all what we said and done or not, but as a whole, the permits are for the farmers to give them a little bit of a break so they don't have to haul. They supposedly supposed to get that break, but not 8,000 pounds every load. It's not a max load. It's insurance, and that's the thing that sometimes is overlooked, not respected, and we have some farmers that'll say, okay, I'm going to just buy the one that hauls to the plant, and the rest of them I'll just let her run. And a lot of farmers are good at watching their loads. Some aren't. That's bad. That's the problem.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We have a couple more candidates to meet. When we come back, we will meet the candidates for a Richland County Sheriff. You're watching the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and discussion on the Three Border Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Did you know that we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota? Or that we've been around for over 60 years? How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/.
Dodson with the home run, just about to straight away center field.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Lincoln State Bank's lending team is ready to meet all your farm financing needs. Whatever you're looking for, a line of credit, a new piece of equipment, or buying farmland, Lincoln State Bank has the knowledge and experience to structure the best deal for you. To find out more about what Lincoln State Bank has to offer, call Brian, Anthony, or Jeff, or stop by at any one of their locations in Hankinson, Wyndmere, or Lidgerwood. Lincoln State Bank's Ag Lending Team, experts in your field. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Welcome back to the Hankinson Community Center. You are watching the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and discussion. At this time, we're going to meet the two candidates that will be on the ballot November 8th for Richland County Sheriff. We will start with Officer Gerer.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for letting me speak here tonight. Thanks for the Legion. Like I said, my name's Gerer. I've been with the Sheriff's Office 31 years. But with that, I started in Devil's Lake, moved there about age 1, graduated from Devil's Lake, went to Wapton College. From there, I entered the Marine Corps, did my tour there. From there, went to the Army, did my stint there, and then pursued to perceived I run a business in Devil's Lake. From there, came to Richland County in 1991. Since then, I started off in the corrections. From there, went to Lidgerwood as a contract deputy for 2 years. From there, moved to Fairmont, and I still live in Fairmont to this day. From there, I went 2 more years, and I went to the sergeant as a supervisor. And in 2005, I went to the chief deputy to supervise the department. That's kind of a little bit of a history. I'm what you call kind of the working sheriff. I go out all hours of the night. The deputies call me, different problems they have. I go out and help them, whether it be a fatality accident, suicide, or whatever. The sheriff's office has to wear many hats. The county does not have a county coroner, so that's one of the hats that the sheriff's office has to wear. So with that, there are some questions. We can't be a crime scene investigator and a coroner at the same scene. So therefore, it does entail some time and some training. I have over 2,400 hours of law enforcement training, which I am currently an instructor in police subjects for the state of North Dakota. I'm also the weapons instructor for the department. So some of the goals that we're looking towards is working with the schools. We currently have been into every school in the county. There's 6 school districts. And then there's the St. John's and there's the Circle of Nations. We have given programs in all the schools on whether it be active shooters, unwanted person, pretty much covered everything under the sun. So with that, we do have current programs set up for the different schools to go in for the active shooter. As far as some resource officers, and we have deputies stationed all over the county, which they do their school patrols in the mornings and quite often in the afternoon. So with that program, it kind of alleviates the resource officer, which would put the burden back onto the school district for the money, the pay. Granted, there is grants there, but it still has to come out of the county a certain percentage. So with that, we'll improve the communications. We just recently, it's been an ongoing 2-year project or more dealing with different vendors. We just installed new radios in all the patrol cars. Working with the commissioner, it's been generous to fund this through the system. Computers in the vehicles. We do have computers in the vehicles where the officers can pull off to the side and do their reports. They do not have to come in the office anymore. We do cover, 1,400, little over 1,400 square miles in Richland County. And, that's a lot of area. You got 11 water ponds, lakes, whatever. So that's quite an area for just our deputies that we have. They do an excellent job. So, like for the year of 2021, we had just a nickel under 7,000 calls for the sheriff's office alone. So we have 6 major highways, so we do the fatality accidents, the property accidents, the dog calls, the domestic calls, everything under the sun. We also have 16 communities that get patrolled every single night. So at that, when they do fall down, like they said, or have questions, they call me. I will come out, whether 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It doesn't make any difference. I don't ask them to do something I haven't done or won't do. As a vet, I do work with the Veterans Program. I have worked with some veterans in the county. So that's been a good experience there. We're also working on the communications a little bit better. We're looking at maybe putting like GPS tracking in the vehicles where you could get to the nearest officer. Where if we have something happen, dispatch will have it on the screen where those officers are to dispatch the closest one. That's going to be a big benefit. With the updates in the computers, it's been a challenge. We have to deal with the parameters of the budget that is set by the commissioners and the taxpayers. We just can't go out and buy any old thing you want. So it's been a challenge. The COVID issue's been a big deal with training. There hasn't been any hand-to-hand training. It's all been virtual the last couple of years. Now we're getting back into more of the hands-on training. So that has been a challenge. Staffing issues in corrections has been an issue. Some of our jailers get COVID. Some of our deputies get the COVID. They're out for a period of time, so we have to run short. We have to deal with parameters of the DOCR in our corrections, the PREA. There's all sorts of little uphill battles, but I'll put our deputies against anybody else in the state as far as equipment, knowledge, and whatever they need to cover, all the way from the homicide, suicide, to a simple traffic accident. They're capable of covering it all. About it. Thank you.
Officer Gary Rule, thank you. Next up, Officer Jason Weber.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to start off by thanking Bob Earl with Lincoln State Bank for putting this on, all the other sponsors, Raley for moderating, 3 Borders Sports for streaming this live, and for the City of Hankinson for allowing us to use this beautiful community center for this forum. Again, my name is Jason Weber. I'm with the Richland County Sheriff's Office. I've been there with the Sheriff's Office for 24 plus years. I'm married to my wife, Heather. I have a son, Christopher, that just graduated Alex Tech law enforcement and starting his career. And then I have my daughter, that's a junior. Just a little bit of background about myself. I was born and raised in Watertown, South Dakota. I graduated high school there. From there, I went on to Alexandria Technical College, where I got my Associate's Applied Science in Law Enforcement. I then went to MSUM up in Moorhead to continue on my education. And then I started my job down here in Richland County in 1998. From 1998 to 2000, I was the contract deputy for the City of Hankinson. There I was promoted to countywide, moved to Morton, and was there till 2002, where then we moved to Wapton, and where I'm currently residing. I started off in patrol. In 2005, I got our K-9 unit up and running for the department, and assisted with that. And in 2008, I transferred into our drug task force. where I currently still serve. Since 2009, I've been running the task force. I'm currently the director of our drug task force. Some of the things that I've approximately 2,000 hours of continuing education past my college through the North Dakota Post Board. I am also a certified police officer, certified police officer instructor for the state of North Dakota, and I'm also a certified police internal affairs investigator. I've also served on our special response team, Southern Valley Special Response Team, right here in Richland County. I started with the induction of our team in 2013 as a SWAT operator, and then was promoted to assistant team leader, and I just recently retired off our team as the team leader. I worked numerous shifts in our jail, so I know the kind of the operations of there, and I worked numerous shifts in our dispatch center. I'm the only one of the candidates that can go down to our dispatch center, field a call, enter it into our CAD system, dispatch an ambulance, dispatch a fire, and know the inner workings with our dispatch center. Why do I say that? Is because I think the sheriff's candidate should know all aspects of our sheriff's office, to include the operations of the jail, dispatch, since those entities are under the sheriff's office control. Some of the things that my visions and goals, as I'll outline them real quick because I'm not sure if I will get enough time, is I want to talk about, I'd like to improve on our training. I'd like to talk about improving on our equipment. I'd like to talk about we need to be more policing into the future and be more proactive instead of reactive. We need to talk about starting a school resource officer program. That's the wave of the future, is to build that bridge between our students and our schools and law enforcement. There's many grants out there that will provide monies for that, that will help with the funding of that. I also want to talk about operations in our jail and what we can do to improve it, to include treatment, more treatment opportunities for inmates that are in our jail. Currently, I sit on our Richland County Treatment Court Board, and I see the individuals that come in that have addiction problems, whether it's to drugs or alcohol, and after an 18-month program, they come out of that and they're fully gainfully employed, they get their families back. I've seen it happen, and it reduces that recidivism rate in our jails. There's a lot of crimes out there. Probably 80% of the crimes, non-drug crimes, have a drug nexus to them. And we got to figure out, we can't just jail our way out of the problem anymore. We can't police like we did 30 years ago. We need to police for the future. And we need to get to the root problem of that. And some of the times the root problem is addiction, and mental health is a big issue. And so as we fund money, as we take monies out of our jail, we need to work with our legislators to put money back into some different resources, whether it's Southeast Human Services or whatever it may be, to also help with those addictions. But let's start off with some training. My opponent talks about our officers are well-trained officers. That is true. We do have some well-trained officers, but there's always room for improvement in any job that you work with, and I don't care what job it is. We need to have the training. In the last years, we've had 2 officers lose their license because they didn't have enough training hours. We only need 60 hours every 3 years, which is 20 hours a year, really, which is really nothing. You talk about training is expensive, and we got a budget. Probably 80% of our training put on in North Dakota is paid for by North Dakota Post Board. So training, to say budget is an issue, should never be an issue. I don't have an issue getting my guys to training in my office, and we need to have that training. That's important. It relieves liability to the county if you have the proper training and the proper documentation. I have a training manual from an individual that worked in our jail, and in the manual you have to have it signed off that they taught you this and so forth, and that you learn this. This manual is empty, and this individual was there for a little over a year. Well, if something bad would happen in the jail, and this is going on, they're going to get sued, and there's no documentation. You look at the George Floyd situation, and what did they go in? We weren't properly trained. We weren't properly trained. Well, they brought in the training and the training records, and they were properly trained, so it relieved the department of that liability. And obviously they face their own, but and that's what it's all about, is keeping up on that training and relieving the department of any liability. When we talk about equipment, I'm not talking about, there's always assess, you got to look at what are your equipment needs and what are your wants. And I'm not even talking about what our wants are right now. I'm talking about what are our needs. and I feel like we're getting behind on our needs of equipment. Some of our equipment that we talk about is, the computers in the squad car. Sure, they did put computers in our squad car, but the computers they put in are 5 to 7-year-old laptops that were old highway patrol computers, and these computers don't have internet access and they don't have the CAD system on it, so they can't fully do their reports. 20 years ago, we have to have a forward-thinking leader. 20 years ago, they were giving grant dollars away like crazy for laptops and our computers and our squad cars. Our administration didn't take advantage of this opportunity, and now in next year's budget of over $100,000, we will get computers in our squad cars, but it's going to be at the expense of taxpayers like yourself and mine. That's not acceptable. There's a lot of grants out there. We need to utilize grants. I work with grants all the time in my office. That's how my office is funded. It's through grants. And so we need to look at that. When we talk about equipment, another thing I want to talk about is, we talk about tactical weapon lights on our weapons. We don't have any tactical weapon lights on our weapons. And I've been after this for quite a few years. And my competitor said that we don't need the weapon lights on our weapons because deputies would use them as flashlights. Well, if we have that attitude where we don't trust a deputy to make a life split-second decision to take a human life, but we don't trust them with a flashlight, we're in big trouble, and that deputy needs to get fired if that's what your thinking is. We're sending them into a dark room, and we're having them hold a gun here, whether it's a gun or our rifles, and we're holding a flashlight here. Well, if they encounter somebody, one, if they don't have a flashlight with them, who are they shooting at? Are they shooting at an innocent person or whatever? The other thing is that we look at is, how do you contact dispatch when you have a flashlight in a gun in this hand, a flashlight in this hand? We don't train like that, and we can't train like that. Just recently, we purchased a sniper rifle for our sniper team. It's taken us about 1.5 years to get ammo for that, after repeated attempts to have purchased ammo for that. We actually had to have Wapton Police Department give us 3 boxes of ammo to our sniper because we couldn't get the ammo. Another incident, when we talk about equipment, is we have guys starting to buy their own equipment now. We had an incident just here not too long ago where some of our members on our special response team purchased $25 targets for sniper targets, hostage negotiation targets, and my competitor had them sent back for $25, so we had a deputy pay for them out of his own pocket so we can train, and we need to keep up on that training. It's very, very important. The other thing is we have a correctional officer that's going to police officer school from our jail. He's a left-handed officer, and he was given a right-handed holster to go to this training, and said you either got to do a cross draw or learn how to shoot right-handed. And we can't have that. We don't train like that. We should never train like that. So this officer had to go out and buy his own left-handed holster so he can go to police school. And so I'm not here to try to dog anybody. I'm trying to be transparent to what's going on in our department. I think the public needs to know the transparency and the issues. And we need to work on community engagement and working with the public and keeping the public, and we need to work on being proactive. We need to work on efficiencies. Just one of the efficiencies in my office, I went paperless a couple years ago in my office. Doesn't seem like very big, but I'm not buying paper, toners. You print off some stuff, but I'm not buying folders for the reports. It saves a lot of money. So wherever you save in this can go to some of these other equipment needs that you need. Some of the stuff, how am I doing on time? Way over. Oh, man. So I got much. If you guys want questions or talk to me later, I'll be available. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your support on November 8th. Thank you.
Officer Jason Weber, thank you. All right, we're going to break. When we come back, we'll field some questions for the candidates for Richland County Sheriff. If you have questions, please see Bob Whirl. You're watching the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and discussion on the Three Borders Sports Network and on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125. We'll be right back.
Did you know that we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota? Or that we've been around for over 60 years? How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Dodson with the home run, just about to straight away center field.
Serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota, or that we've been around for over 60 years. How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Welcome back to the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion here at the Hankinson Community Center. We are going to now open up the floor to questions for Officer Gerer Rule and Officer Jason Weber. If anybody has questions, please see Bob Worrell. Bob?
I think most people know me, Dave Paulson. I'm from Hankinson here. Question to both you gentlemen that are running for sheriff. One of my concerns over the years, and I served on a county commission many years also, but is truck regulatory in our county. I guess I'd like to hear your point of view from both of you on your plans for that.
Officer Rule, you want to start with that one?
Would you like to repeat the question?
What's your plans for truck regulatory in Richland County?
We currently do have a truck regulatory individual that does work, his shift work during the harvest season. I usually run him 8 to 5 or 1 to 10. What the county has done, we worked with the commissioners, and on an 80,000 pound truck, we'll go to 82.5 without any fines. Once you go over that with no permit, you go back to the 80,000. So with that, we do have the regular patrol deputies also stopping trucks and calling for the weigh-in, or they will take them right to the scale at Morton.
Mr. Weber?
Yeah, so like Gary's saying, we do have a truck regulatory officer. In my opinion, I think that what dampers some of that patrol efforts for him is there are some shifts, very minimal, that he's put on just strictly for trucks. The problem is he's also put on a lot of shifts for patrol work, and that takes away from his designated area. So what needs to happen is he needs to be allowed to do his job that he's hired for more, especially during the harvest seasons and so forth, to be able to do the truck regulatory work. And if that means pulling a supervisor even from the office to go do the patrol works or field the other calls, that's what needs to happen.
Well, and part of my concern is not just this year, it's been many years, but as of about 2 months ago, Richland County had four truck violations for the year. Now, State Highway Patrol can come into Richland County on any given day and write 5 or 6 every time they're here. And I guess I'm really concerned, and when I say this, I fully believe that 95% of our people out there are trying to run legal. But now look at the county. They're forced to trying to maintain roads, and these violators are wrecking our roads faster than we can fix them, and there's no control. And this to me, we're just chasing the wrong horse here. We'll never catch anybody. What we're doing today is not adequate in our county. And that's where I feel, I guess. So I'd like to see both of you, whoever's elected, to be a lot more adamant about truck regulatory in Richland County. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi there. My name is Dustin Hill. I'm a retired police officer out of Wapton, North Dakota. I currently own a business in Richland County, and my daughter lives in Richland County. I have some concerns about integrity, and these questions are unfortunately, a good police officer never asks a question that he doesn't already know the answer to, so Gary, I'd like you to keep that in mind. My grandfather used to tell me that if you're going to put something out in a problem, you put it out in the light of day and let it sort itself out. So here are the questions that I'd like to go through with you. Gary, do you remember making a disparaging and extremely racist comment recently to an African-American officer?
No.
Now, you don't remember it? Because
you enlighten me then.
Pardon me?
No, I don't.
Okay. Whoops. The next question is, how did your daughter's DUI paperwork get lost for 14 days recently?
My daughter's DUI paper.
Yep. How did her paperwork get lost for 14 days?
I don't know.
You don't know? There's no call for service where you called. It's Freedom of Information Act, Mr. Rule.
Oh, I understand that, but why would I know that? My daughter's 28 years old.
Okay, but when she got her DUI, did you have any involvement in that whatsoever?
No.
Okay, there's no call for service where you called in and spoke to dispatch about it?
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
No.
Okay. We'll move on so that we can give other people questions here. With the training in Fairmont and with the Richland County deputies, how many deputies and officers lost their certification under your direction or lack of direction from the Fairmont Fire Department and then from the Richland County Sheriff's Department in the last 2 years?
None.
None? There was no deputies that lost their training certification?
No.
Okay. How about for the Fairmont Fire Department? How many lost their certification while you were the chief there?
None.
None? Are you sure?
You mean they're first responders?
Yeah. How many?
Well, we have a couple that just neglected not to do it. It's not my responsibility.
Okay, so training wasn't
neglect
sent in a
they
timely
don't
manner?
wanna
I'm sorry, I'll let you
participate
finish
in
asking the questions or answering as soon as I'm done asking. How many under your, when lack of paperwork that was sent in, lost their certification?
None.
Okay. How many years did it take to get Officer Nelk DUI certified out on the street?
I was waiting for that one. So, don't you think, for once, maybe the guy needs to know the parameters of his job? He joined the sheriff's office to do more than chase tailpipes and write DUIs.
So you think
You gotta deal
DUIs
with
is chasing
domestics.
tailpipes?
You gotta do domestics. I don't know if you ever did that, but domestics, paper service, civil process, all of that stuff.
Okay.
Before you go into a specialty field.
Okay. So basic police procedures that are outlined under state statute, like DUI training, which is offered free by the state, by the way, it's paid for.
I know.
But are any of your officers under your training had any type of advanced roadside impairment detection enforcement, A-RIDE, any type of DUI specialty training, any of them?
Yes.
Which ones?
Didn't they just go to some?
No. Which ones?
I believe Jason was just at a specialty training with 2 deputies, 3 deputies as a matter of fact.
Out on the road, which 3 deputies are A-RIDE certified?
No, that's not your question. So you just went to some specialty training in Fargo, yes?
Roadside interview interrogation.
Right.
Okay, so just Jason?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard
4
time hearing
deputies
you,
total.
Mr. Rule.
4
I'm sorry?
deputies total.
Okay. And then with the dive rescue recovery team, what is the current budget that you've allotted for the last 13 years with them?
I don't set their budget.
I'm sorry?
I don't set their budget.
Okay, you don't set any training or anything for that? You have no control over it, or?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your answers.
All right, thanks for your question. Any other questions?
Hello. I have a question for both Deputy Rule and Deputy Weber.
with regards to a somewhat topical matter, so I do understand if unable to comment, but how has county law enforcement responded to and perhaps modified procedures for confidential informants?
Officer Weber?
So yeah, with confidential informants, obviously, we go by what's outlined in state law, and they changed the law. The law really didn't change anything how we operate, okay? So how we operate is we operate under guidelines under the North Dakota BCI, and those are the guidelines that we operate under, and it's strictly documented and everything. You know, the law changed as far as what can be done as far as campus police officers and all that stuff, but you know, for what our use of it, we've always operated under the guidelines under the North Dakota BCI, and if those ever get changed, we would continue to operate under those guidelines.
Certainly. Deputy Rule, any comment on that as well?
No, it's basically the same thing.
Excellent. Thank you, folks.
All right, time for another question. No more questions? All right. Well, thank you. We're going to break. We will wrap things up when we come back. You are watching the Richland County Meet the Candidates Forum and Discussion on Red River Communications Cable Channel 125 and on the Three Borders Sports Network. We'll wrap things up.
That we serve nearly 1,500 square miles across North Dakota and Minnesota, or that we've been around for over 60 years. How about that we've got 3,000 miles of fiber optics powering one of the best networks in the region? The best part? We're a cooperative. That means we're continually reinvesting in our communities to make them better than ever. We are Red River Communications. We've been recognized as a leader for helping our communities be great places to live and work. To find out how we're helping connect our communities, visit redrivercom.com/.
Lincoln State Bank's lending team is ready to meet all your farm financing needs. Whatever you're looking for, a line of credit, a new piece of equipment, or buying farmland, Lincoln State Bank has the knowledge and experience to structure the best deal for you. To find out more about what Lincoln State Bank has to offer, call Brian, Anthony, or Jeff, or stop by at any one of their locations in Hankinson, Wyndmere, or Lidgerwood. Lincoln State Bank's Ag Lending Team, experts in your field. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Since 1941, Minn-Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn-Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn-Kota Ag Products app. Minn-Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Dodson with the home run, just about to stray away center field.
All right, welcome back. We hope that you now know the candidates a little bit better now than you did before our forum and discussion. We're very fortunate here in Richland County to have 11 great candidates on the ballot for you to vote for on November 8th. I want to take a quick run through the voting locations in Richland County on Election Day. In Wyndmere, you folks will vote at the Wyndmere Fire Hall. Hankinson, right here at the Community Center. Folks out in Colfax, at the Colfax Community Center. In Fairmount, the Fairmount Community Center. Folks out in Lidgerwood, the Lidgerwood American Legion. Morton, the Morton Community Center. And folks in Wahpeton, you can vote at the Wahpeton Event Center on November 8th. I'd like to thank all of our candidates for taking the time to come out tonight and for taking all the time you do to make Richland County the greatest county in North Dakota, and North Dakota the greatest state in the country. So we encourage everybody to get out and vote on November 8th. Our candidates will be hanging around for a little bit. If you'd like to visit with them, feel free to track them down in the foyer. And again, if there were family and friends that weren't able to tune in tonight, please let them know they can find us on threebordersportsnetwork.com if they'd like it, to take a look at the forum and this discussion. Before we sign off tonight, I'd like to ask all of you here in our audience tonight, all our viewers on Three Borders Sports Network and Red River Communications Cable Channel 125 to keep the Malk family and the Hazel family in your thoughts and prayers. Many of you might have been wondering why Julie Malk, a member of our Three Borders Sports Network family, wasn't here hosting tonight. She is spending time with her father, who is in the hospital in Fargo. Julie's father was in a serious car accident last week. So please keep the Malk and the Hazel family in your prayers. It'll be a long recovery for Weldon, so please keep him in your prayers. All right, that's going to do it from the Hankinson Community Center. For Bob Whirl, Ryan Wallach, Brian Watson, I'm Raley Lipp for the Three Borders Sports Network and Red River Communications Cable Channel 125. Thanks for being here tonight. Good night.